My name is Matt Welch. I'm the editor-in-chief of Reason Magazine. Nick Gillespie's the editor of Reason Online and TV. He's somewhere here. Say hello. That's him there. And I wanted to thank you. We're just going to talk for about a half an hour here, lightning round from the beginning of questions. And Dave Weigel is going to set the table for us a little bit. Let's leave it over to our great political reporter, Dave Weigel.
I will briefly introduce everyone, and then we'll start asking questions. Allyn Root is a sports celebrity, a self-made businessman, millionaire by the age of 30. Our next panelist is Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel was a senator from Alaska from 1969 to 1981. Bob Barr, he was a congressman from Georgia from 1995 to 2003. He joined the Libertarian National Committee in 2006. And our final panelist is Vern McKinley. He is a consultant businessman, a former researcher for several libertarian think tanks, and he's running for Congress as a Republican in Virginia against an incumbent Republican who's basically pretty awful.
Big government Republican, yeah.
Tell everyone why you're running, why this is your year.
I think I can get people excited with a dynamic, youthful, enthusiastic speaking style and message that really will catch the attention of all the young people that followed Ron Paul.
We all know that money in politics is what corrupts politics. And we've seen this year more corruption than's ever taken place in our history. You think you're going to see a change next year from what we have? It'll be more of the same.
Inside the heart of every American beats the heart of a libertarian. And what we need to do is show the American people that that is mainstream. For too long, libertarians have been silent.
There's a lot of turmoil in the Republican Party right now. I think last week you saw these discussions about chaos in the party. A lot of the moderate big government types are getting pushed out of the party, and it's a great opportunity with Dr. Paul's lead and others to take back the party like was done in the early 80s and mid-90s.
Do we have an immigration problem? First question.
I love immigrants. If immigrants came here without expecting welfare, aid to dependent families, child support, housing assistance, free public schools, free medical, Social Security. If you could wave a magic wand and end it tomorrow, I would say open borders would be great. Let everyone in. I love immigrants. But you can't. It's unrealistic. So we have to seal the border to stop the problem and then figure out what to do with the people that are already here.
The people that I've met, immigrants, they don't come here for welfare. They come here to work. They come here to work, and they'd love to send their money home to their families where the money goes a lot further than it goes here. No, we've had a stupid policy in this country. I'm ashamed that we're building a fence in our southern border.
What we really need to do is recognize that even as libertarians, the one fundamental function of government, and if there is one responsibility the government has, is to protect the nation, to protect the sovereignty of the nation. And you do that by assuring yourself that those people that want to come into America submit themselves to a basic background check, present verifiable current identification at a proper border checkpoint, and that you make sure they don't have a communicable disease.
What we don't want to do is to have any kind of real ID type of employer verification program that tracks all the employees in the country. We don't want to be spending billions when we don't really have a plan to straighten out the border situation. That's what we've been doing since 2001.
Okay, next question. Has any foreign intervention by the United States since the Gulf War been worth it?
You put me on the spot as to which ones were worth it since '91. I guess the first Gulf War, because there was an attack. There was an attack. So the first Gulf War, I guess you might say, was one of those examples where we had to go in and protect Kuwait and the oil supply. But having said that, I certainly don't think this Iraq War made any sense at all. I think it's a disaster. I think we've got to get out as fast as we can.
War begets war, and it started with the First World War. A Democrat took us into war. We should have let the Europeans settle their differences, and you should not set it up for the Second World War and then forward. There's no time in history where you can look at a war and not realize that it did not beget another war.
We need to recognize that America does not serve either itself or the rest of the world well by intervening, nation building, and occupying foreign lands.
To clarify, none of the intervention since the Gulf War then? Keeping in mind that most were under Bill Clinton?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Afghanistan I would have probably voted for a very targeted intervention there to take care of al-Qaeda, because using Ronald Reagan's national interest benchmark, I think that was something that was in our national interest, but I wouldn't have stayed there for nation building like we've done. And the Iraq War, I would not have gone in there.
Okay, next question. What is the first federal agency that you would get rid of once you get behind the desk of the Oval Office?
That's an easy question. For me, it's the Department of Education. I think it's the symbol of everything wrong with our government today. I think it's the great issue of our time. It is the civil rights issue of our time. They are our children, and yet a gun is held to our head. I think back to the Boston Tea Party. It's taxation without representation. When you force me to pay property taxes to send my children to public schools, and public schools are failing, and I should have a voucher that allows me to take that money and choose something else. And unfortunately, public school teachers unions do not want our children to succeed. All they care about is their own salaries. And it's a sin, and it's a disgrace. Department of Education, gone.
Obviously, the IRS and our system of revenue has to change. Let me give you the overarching aspect of it. You can see
in 24 seconds?
24 seconds, very simple. We tax individuals. We tax the productive part of enterprise in corporations. We tax our savings, but we don't tax wealth. Does that not give a message to the American people that we got things cattywampus?
Okay. Yeah, the word cattywampus, I don't think I've heard no.
I was thinking of another word, but I don't think you want me to say it.
Please do not. Same question. First agency you want to get rid of?
There is absolutely no reason, no constitutional basis, no legitimate basis for the Federal Department of Education. All they do is spend money and interfere. That would certainly have to be either at or very near the top of my list for agencies, departments, and offices in the government to get rid of.
Education, obviously. Energy, commerce. Commerce is just a broom closet of a bunch of functions that shouldn't be around. I mean, these were all planks during the Reagan years, during the mid-'90s Republican Revolution, and this time around we need to really be serious and get rid of them all.
Are you willing to legalize the sale and possession of all narcotics?
The war on drugs is the stupidest thing this country's ever undertaken. We know the failure of prohibition in the 20s, and now there's nothing stopping us. And here, I was there. Richard Nixon commissioned a study with the Pennsylvania governor, Schaefer, and the study was to find out what the story was with respect to drugs. Well, they came back with a study that said that marijuana was not addictive, was not a gateway drug, and that we should deregulate the hard drugs. And if you want a hard drug, go to a doctor, get a prescription. That's what the rest of us do with drugs right now. What are you talking about?
Speak for yourself, Senator.
Why not? We're spending... Wait, you'll get older, you'll need some.
I believe the war on drugs is a disaster, but having said that, the way to get elected is to go after an issue the American public can get their hands around, and I think it's always about medical marijuana. If you had an uncle, if you had a father, if you had someone who was sick, they were in pain, how could you deny them something that would take that pain away in their last stage of life?
We have a responsibility to the libertarian philosophy, the libertarian platform, the Libertarian Party, to present our ideas to maximize individual liberty and minimize government power in a way that actually moves us forward in the American people to get to that point. You can't do it in one fell swoop.
Vern McKinley.
This says the states do it. So I'll give you a 10-second answer.
It made me shudder when I heard John McCain say that his favorite president was Teddy Roosevelt. Who is your favorite president?
George Washington.
Vern McKinley.
Tie between Ronald Reagan and Calvin Coolidge.
George Washington, far and away.
Far and away, Thomas Jefferson, the most libertarian president in the history of America.
We'll talk later about the Louisiana Purchase and what that meant for the expansion of executive power.
And slavery.
With that, I'd like to wrap up our terrific event. Thank you to all of our guests. Please give them a great round of applause. Thank you also to Dave Weigel for leading the affair. Thank you very much. This has been Matt Welch for Reason TV. Good night.